Welcome back to Birds with Words. I'm your host, Sean Fitzgerald, the author to A Fold to Extinction, Sinner's Pass, and the upcoming Alone Together series. Today we have a great guest with us, all the way from down under. Jamie, would you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell my guests where they can find you?
Yeah, so my name's Jamie, but my author name is J.A. Bryden. I've published a few books. Letters from the Emu War is probably my most famous one. Hilarious, kids book about the time we lost a war to emus. Yes, that really happened. I have a lesser-known book called The Wedding Night Trilogy, which is a series of novellas about a medieval-themed bucks party that gets interrupted by the zombie apocalypse. And a book that's out now, I'm assuming, depending when this is released, called Ancora, which is the beginning of a series, which is a much more dark and serious book about 300 years after an alien invasion, and mankind's living out in the wilderness and we're being hunted by aliens medieval style. So it's a little different from my other stuff, but probably the thing I've worked the most hardest on. I'm also the host of a podcast called Stories the True and the Fictional, doing much similar stuff to what you're doing, Sean, interviewing authors and all that stuff. You can find me at jabryden.com or just Google J.A. Bryden and you'll find me everywhere.
Perfect. And of course, we'll have everything linked at the bottom. So today we have a special moment. Jamie's going to read to us from his newly released novel. So without saying any more, Jamie, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you just let me know when you've reached your stopping point.
Cool. Okay, so this is the prologue to Ancora, kind of just setting you up with the world and everything. So I'll jump right in. The world isn't ours anymore. With every passing generation, knowledge of the old ways drifts further away like the fallen trees floating on the Zaratha River. There was a time when we humans were free to wander the trails between the bustling tribes of stone and steel, free to travel to other lands in the belly of a flying beast, free to live in joyful noise without fear of discovery and inevitable death. But those days are gone. There isn't a man or woman left who remembers the day that they descended upon us. We have the stories of Destin, but nothing before him. Every tribe owes him their very existence, for he led the exodus to Ancora and gave birth to the tribes and the pathmakers. His story is one of bravery and mystery, yet he is ill spoken of by the elders. They blame him for the hunters who came in the dead of summer, the ones that lured the hopeful to what is now called the Valley of the Fallen. They blame him for the hunters who never stop coming, as they strive to finish what they started countless generations ago. And yet, if not for Destin's discovery that Ancora somehow disrupts the hunter's magic, the human race would have been completely wiped out, with no one left to mourn us. Our demise would have been met with the celebration of the hunters. The fact that Destin disappeared without a trace while searching for a way to drive the hunters from our home is a mystery that stays with me. I, for one, am pleased that I live with my family far from the tribes in a place not only untouched by hunters, but untouched by the influence of the elders. Hope can only bring death, they say. These hunters cannot be killed, they say. Although the latter is partially true, it is also a truth that the tribesfolk have blindly accepted. But what if mankind could be saved? What if Destin was truly close to finding it? The Malkorsha. And that was an excerpt from one of the characters' journal entries. But yeah.
Perfect. What I really appreciate here, and you're the third author to go through a reading with me, is you put the inflection on elements in there. Nothing against the other two authors. They just kind of read through it. I think, first time having to read it live. So that was perfect. I really enjoyed that. Obviously, while we've recorded this, the book has not been released. By the time you hear this, the book is out there. Please go out there, take a look at it. And with that being said, I do have a couple questions about your novel. Obviously, feel free if you don't want to answer because it gives something away. But first part, open and what inspired you to dive into it? We spoke a little bit, earlier. You said this is a little bit different than your Emu War. I assume we're not going to be losing a war to a bunch of birds this time.
No. Well, this was a process. It's one of these ideas that have stuck with me for ages. It's just like in your head, and I just never knew how I was going to tell it until recently. But it did come from me playing Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 5. Beautiful game, and it just intrigued me. This whole, now that's like 1,000 years after a historical event, a huge event, and then I thought that's a bit much for me, so maybe we can weasel it down to a couple hundred years. And it's just the mystery side of it, thinking about like post-apocalyptic, but beyond post-apocalyptic, if you know what I mean, like post.
Yeah.
And just diving into like mystery and intrigue and danger, and I was a little inspired by The Road, and it was going to be a completely morbid book with a morbid ending, but then I kind of changed it at the end and made it a little more hopeful.
That's great, because anybody out there, I've gotten some flack from some of the morbid side that I've done in my writing, so my listeners will probably appreciate a happier ending in this one.
Yeah.
So you were, or I don't want to say exposed, you were influenced heavily then by a different medium, being video games. Do you think, especially since you're an author of 2 previous novels, that the way you wrote your upcoming Ancora novel was influenced or changed your voice more because it came from a video game inspiration?
Probably. Like, I mean, I don't read much. I've only just really started getting to reading. Like, a lot of people know that in the first 27 years of my life, I only read 2 books cover to cover, and that was Jurassic Park and the second Jurassic Park. That was it, And then
those are great novels, so no
they were fantastic. But I really get it. I'm a huge movie buff, huge TV buff. One of my favorite writers is Bill Lawrence, who did Scrubs, Ted Lasso, and he's a brilliant writer. He can make you laugh, make you cry within 5 seconds. So I feel like I'm more influenced by the movie side when it comes to my writing, and like everything's visual. And like funny enough, the Emu War was first a screenplay, and then I turned it into a book. The Zombie Trilogy was a screenplay, turned it into a book. Ancora was the idea of a screenplay, but before I even tried fully dabbling in that, I went, screw it, book.
Perfect. And it sounds then, and tell me if this is the wrong interpretation, you were probably a very visual person when you're writing. Do you ever fear while writing a scene that your descriptions won't convey the same message that your mind has painted?
I honestly don't think about it all that much. I kind of like don't like to over describe things, because I like people to create an image in their mind. Do you know what I mean? But then when I did the Zombie Trilogy, someone reviewed it and they said, it's like they could see everything. So obviously I wasn't over describing too much, but I was describing just enough. But it's honestly just something I don't really think about. I kind of get in the zone and I just write, and sometimes I don't even remember that I wrote a book.
Perfect. I didn't think about this until I wrote a scene where it's based on a very real place. And when we visited that place, my wife was disoriented because she thought it was the other, it's based on a heavy trafficked road, that it was on the other side of the road. And that threw her off. And then I had to start self-doubt. Hey, did I do this right or wrong? So about your newly released novel at this point, 2-part question to this, and I'll start with the first portion of it. If you woke up tomorrow in that world, would you want to stay in that world?
Probably not. It depends where I am. I mean, because funny enough, I modeled basically the part of the world that it's set in where I live. So it's because I live in a mountain town, like Blue Mountains, wilderness everywhere. There's literally a place called the Devil's Wilderness, like about probably like 5 kilometers or 3 miles to my, that way. So I kind of already live in it. And we have the joke that everything in Australia is trying to kill you. So it's kind of, I'm half living there, but maybe. I don't know. It's pretty deadly. You know?
Okay. So then that brings me to my second part of this question is, do you think you would do well if you woke up in that world?
I better than most. I'm not a city folk, so I grew up out in the wilderness, so I know how to, survive reasonably. But the whole hunting aspect, like being hunted by something, might put me off.
Yeah, survival, search, and evasion is completely different when there's somebody actually looking for you.
Yeah. Perfect. I mean, they're not as hardcore as the Predator. They're not like invisible and all that, but you can probably hear them coming.
So I don't, obviously don't feel obligated to answer this if it ruins anything. What level of technologically superior is this new race in your novel?
Not much more technical than ours. It's obviously probably a little bit further in the future, but the fact that humans are living in the wilderness, their tech doesn't work anymore. So they're hunting us with bows and arrows and swords. But out in the city, it's probably, I'd say, 50 to 100 years more advanced than us.
Okay.
So just a little bit more.
Gotcha. So I also want to just kind of dive into who you are, because there's a million great novels out there, right?
Yeah.
But let's find out who you are. So I looked through your website. You're not just a writer.
No.
I mean, obviously just a musician, right? We can't talk about that. Just a podcaster can't talk about that. But you're a comic book nerd as well. I figured that out from some of your backgrounds. Is that right? I see it right there. You got a Spider-Man helmet hanging off. So similar question as last time. If you could pick a comic book to just live in for a month, which comic book would you choose?
Oh, see, that's tough because I got a friend who's a comic book artist, Jamie Johnson. Shout out to him; he's a brilliant artist. We asked him the same question when he came on our podcast, and it's just there's so many you can rule out because a lot of them are set in New York. So it's just you could just go to New York and you'd be there,
True.
Because TMNT is my all-time favorite. I probably would like to hang out with the Turtles. That'd be fun. That's the first one in my head. But then, obscure one, Resident Alien. That'd be pretty cool. If you heard of that one.
I've not personally.
There's a TV series on it now with Alan Tudyk. It's brilliant. It's the show's better than the comic. It's a little bit different, but it's like an alien. An alien is come to Earth to destroy Earth, and he crash lands on and loses his device that's to basically kill everyone. And he, while he's hunting, trying to track down that thing that he lost in some remote town, he kills the local doctor and takes his place.
Okay.
And then people come up to him and say, "Come into town and look at this body and all this stuff." And he's got to pretend to be a doctor while he's looking for his device. And he's Googling how to do his procedure. It's very, very funny.
Oh my god! The way that you pitched that kind of reminded me of.
I could bring a little chuckle your way.
Sorry, my phone just. I said Google.
Our overlords are listening at any given moment.
Just don't have me say Google anymore.
I'll try. Now I'm going to try to make you say Google as much as possible while we're sitting here. Oh Lord! No, the way you pitched that it reminded me of my childhood, and there was a cartoon called Invader Zim. Very similar concept. Alien comes here to wipe us out, crashes, and kind of just fumbles around, not being able to do it. Really enjoyed that one. But I didn't mean to be facetious about your other talents. So you're an artist. I listened to a couple of your songs just before joining. Do you always do acoustic, or do you also do any other type of music?
Well, I used to play. I've probably been in 3 bands over 10, 12 years. I stopped playing about 8 years ago. But it was punk rock. So we wrote our own songs. We did punk rock covers of all the popular songs, which drunk people liked. Because, but yeah, I've been playing since I was 12, roughly, and now I just dabble with the acoustic.
Okay.
I don't have the energy to drive an hour and a half into the city and play a punk rock show and get home at 3 a.m.
Hey, I would never have guessed. I only listened to your acoustic stuff. I didn't know you had a punk rock band. I take that back. I read your description, but when I listened to your music, I was like, okay, so he just has a really cool name. I didn't associate it with punk rock.
Yeah.
You have a great voice, though, so I would not have guessed.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would not have guessed punk rock whatsoever. So then you also have written other novels, and I have to ask, because I did not, I'm sorry, I found you afterwards. I have not read the Emu War, but the cover is just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Is it from the perspective of the birds?
Yes.
Oh my God, I need to read it now.
Because they won the war, I saw it fit for them to tell the story. Let me know. Let's say history is written by those who win. So
it's absolutely. Well, I have to say, so the majority of my audience is American. Would you like to educate them on the Great Emu War?
Well, it is quite popular over there. Like the amount of Australians I meet that don't know about it, they're just like, "How did I not hear about this?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, when you hear about it, you'll understand why you've never heard about it." But it was 1932, so it's the Great Depression. There's a massive drought in Australia, and on top of that, they've got the veterans from World War One were given a whole lot of farmland, so they grow all these crops. And then it's emu mating season, and 20,000 of them migrate out west and just start destroying all these crops, like absolutely destroying them. So then the farmers go to the government and say, "Hey, can you do something about this?" And then they declared war on the emus, and then we lost because we couldn't kill any.
Yeah. I mean, tell me if this is wrong, because I watched a documentary on this once. It was something like they killed 26 emus out of the 50,000 that ended up being migrated out west.
It was, I think, from memory, 912 out of 20,000.
Oh my God!
And it was 10 rounds per bird.
Not Australia's proudest moment.
No, it wasn't. Like, I mean, they basically said you have to headshot them to kill them.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And you got to think about the head of an emu. How?
It's like a little bit bigger than a.
And they move around,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it was pretty funny. Like, and then they even tried to put the guns on trucks and drive them around on the trucks. That didn't, do anything. It's just, and then eventually they just gave up. And the funny part of it was they said, "Okay, let's put a bounty system out." I think it was $25 a bird, and they killed about 50,000 in 6 months. The civilians, not the army.
Just a bunch of good old. It's funny because where I grew up further west, and coyotes are a very large problem for cattle ranchers, and they'll do the same thing with coyotes. They'll put a bounty on them, but they have to limit when they do it, because to your point, guys will just go out there and wipe out an entire population to collect bounties. It's phenomenal. So, do all your writings, are they either heavily based on Australia, or are they all heavily influenced by Australia?
Oh, not necessarily. I think the Emu War was just a thing that came out because I heard about it and a friend told me about it. And I said, I just could not stop thinking about it. And I went, I got to do something with this. So I wrote it into a screenplay, which almost got made. And then that fell through. And then 5 years later, I was like, you know what? Let's do a book. And then I did that. But it's kind of like, it's a visual. I'll be in a situation and an idea will come to me and I'll put it to paper. It doesn't necessarily have to be Australian. Like, I kind of base things off that's where I am and what I see. Like I said, with Ancora, it's the mountains that I live in. I kind of base that off the area. I based Sydney off, which is about an hour and a half from me. I kind of visually tying things together, but I'm not always going to just throw things into, make it Australian, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that.
Yeah.
But I do have to ask, and primarily because this was one of the ideas that spurred a novel of my own, and I have a couple fans who are probably going to ask this. Have you had a run-in with a Sydney funnel web since you've lived there?
Well, yeah, no, I've had a few in my house.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. That's not what I wanted to hear, but okay.
Yeah. Apparently, when I was a baby, I had one crawl under my cot. So,
yeah. Didn't put you down?
No, because the funnel webs are super deadly, but they live mostly underground, so it's rarely they're rare.
Yeah.
The huntsmans are the ones that you see all the time. They're as big as your hand, and they're not deadly at all. They're like the most friendliest spider you'll ever see, but they're big and and they cause a lot of accidents.
Yeah, we have huntsmen here as well, and we have one in our house I call Fred. So love our huntsman. for those who haven't read A Full to Extinction or don't know a lot about funnel webs, the males are usually the ones that end up killing people because they leave to try and find breeding partners, and that's usually when they catch people with them. But very unusual spider, and I found out you guys were fortunate enough to discover a new one. If you didn't hear about that, which is even larger. Yeah, large. That's the last thing Australia needed, right? They're like, hey, everything wants to kill you down here. Yeah. Also, here's a super one that wants to kill you.
Yeah. Well, apparently we have zombie ants as well now too.
Yeah,
they discovered some zombie ant.
Yeah, with the fungus.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now you have to write that into one of your stories out there.
Yeah.
So then the next side that I have to ask is getting more into what you do and what you believe. Everybody has some level of, I don't want to say superstition or just odd beliefs, but what is the weirdest conspiracy theory that you honestly believe in?
Well, funny you should mention that. I don't know if you've heard of this. There's this thing called the panther, the Blue Mountains panther.
I've not heard of this.
It comes and goes. So there's, like it's Australia, and apparently there's a whole lot of panthers running around, like, that have escaped from the zoo sort of thing, and no one believes you and all that. No one believes me and all that. But I never believed it, and then I saw it. I saw it, like, run across a property in front of me. I'm going like, well, it's a conspiracy theory, but there it is right there.
Okay, so you guys have a wild panther just running around.
Yeah, apparently we have a few. And here's the thing. It's been caught on CTV. And everyone's like, no, it's like a feral cat or something. And I'm going like, there's a big leap between a feral cat and a freaking panther.
Yeah, there's even between a bobcat, which down here are still large cats. Yeah, there's a big difference between a panther, or mountain lion, depending on where you live. Same cat.
There's a lady probably about 5 minutes from me that keeps records of it, of all the sightings and stuff. Like, she's super into it.
But have you ever been in her house and she has like paper clippings all around her?
Well, I thought about going down there after seeing it, but I'm like, I don't want to be, in a book somewhere. It's like, I'll just admit I saw it. And then apparently 6 months ago, my old man was working at a property somewhere, and the lady that works there, its horses were attacked, and they got scratch marks down this back.
And how did they justify that if it's a conspiracy? Do they just?
I know. Well, it comes and goes. But I just don't talk about it.
Oh,
and it's just like there's all these theories. We had military mascots. I think you lovely Americans came over with a panther back in the war days, and you had your mascot, and then it got loose. There's like a private closed down private zoo, probably an hour from me, backs onto the mountains, and it's just like there's no animals there anymore. Like, could it have escaped from there? But...
So you have a real life cryptid running around, and nobody. Yeah. The thing is that you've seen this. We can verify it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that has to...
It's a conspiracy theory, though,
That is a great... I thought you were going to hit me with like a normal one that, I've heard like a million times. Like,
yeah.
Or, one of the crazier ones, like the moon's fake or something of that nature, or birds are robots. And I've heard all of them. Yeah. I thought I was going to get some... I was not expecting...
No. Well, that's the first one that came to my mind, and we proved it here, folks.
I honestly, knowing big cats, I'm just on your side in general.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you probably have a big cat out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Blue Mountain Cat. I'm going to look into that. Is it just in your region, or is it just like an Australia thing in general?
Well, they've spotted 6 down in Victoria, which is the next state down from Sydney. I'm in New South Wales. The one that got caught on CTV was Perth, near where the Emu War happened. They've seen all around.
You know what they need to do? They just need to put a bounty on that thing, and we'll get an answer tomorrow. So Australia, I've never had the pleasure of being on Australia. Been all around the world, never got to go down there. So I do find it very fascinating because I didn't realize this until I got more into Mad Max. Sorry, I'm a stereotypical American.
That's all right.
Learning through media. A large portion of Australia, and I'd say a vast majority of it, is not populated. So I have to ask, since the majority of the population is around the coast, specifically on the east coast, how far out west and into the wilderness have you been?
Oh, I haven't seen desert yet.
Okay.
I've gone north, I've gone south, west, not so much. Probably, I think there's a place called Dubbo. Well, yeah, Dubbo. I think it's just they have a zoo there. It's like way out. I think it's like 6 hours from me or 7 hours from me. I think that's as far as I've been west, but it's all sand. Like there's nothing there. You can't live there.
Okay, so you haven't met Mad Max, Immortan Joe. You haven't done any of that.
No.
Yeah. Gotcha. And then what about the water side? How much time do you spend out in? Because I hear the surfing's great down there.
Yeah. No, well, the family, my whole family, so my sister and her husband and her kids and my parents, we all go down the south coast every year, like once a year. So we're down by the water once a year for about 7-8 days. And
do you do any sports, or are you strictly just enjoying the sun?
Oh, I just enjoy the sun. I don't. We tend to go closer to the winter, so it's a bit cold for swimming. But definitely go down by the water, and there's whales and dolphins and seals and all that stuff, and
jellyfish,
no sharks. I actually don't see much jellyfish. Where we go, we have this thing called a blue bottle, which is basically a jellyfish, but it's in the shape of a blue bottle. I've seen a few of them in my lifetime, but no, it's pretty chill.
Okay. So everybody out there, if you're hearing this, like Australia animals want to kill you thing, go where Jamie is and
just follow me around.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I have had run-ins.
Okay, that's fair. I've had a few run-ins, but I also live in what they call the Australia of America in Florida. So yeah, it's not that bad here though.
Yeah,
you're more likely to get bit by a person than an animal in my state.
Yeah.
So sports. I played sports. Australia, in my young mind, used to be known for extreme sports, and I've seen multiple skateboards. I see one in the background now in your pic. So, how heavy of a skateboarder are you?
I was heaps into it. I was considered for sponsorship by one of our local shops and stuff. So, but then I hurt myself. It's just like I did my ankles bad. I didn't break them, but I rolled them pretty bad. And every now and again I dabble, I longboard a little bit, but I tried to get right back into it recently, and I fell over and I couldn't, like, it just hurt. I'm getting too old for it.
I completely understand, and especially sports, it's either your ankles or your knees are gonna just kill you.
Yeah, but no, I loved it, and I still love watching the videos. Rodney Mullen is my all-time favorite skateboarder. Not because he just invented all the tricks, but he's just the most humble, genuine guy you'll ever meet.
Have you ever seen those interviews with Tony Hawk where people don't know who Tony Hawk is anymore?
I don't think so.
If you want to get a good laugh, his new thing is to introduce himself as Tony Hawk, and nobody believes that he's Tony Hawk because we have this like young guy image, but it's been like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. Yeah. So what is the skate culture like in Australia? Because here in America, skate culture is very concrete, jungle-ish. So in Australia, is it the same, or is it more of a homegrown, like people are building their own stuff to become skateboarders?
No, well, look, it's pretty dead at the moment. Like, you'll find more scooters at skate parks and skaters. Like, I think parts, I can't remember, because it was in my day, it was heaps popular. Like, it was as big as anything, and like cops were following you around and telling you to because where I grew up, there was no skate parks, so we were carrying around timber, like plywood, and making our own places to skate, and just going through the streets. There'd be 30 of us, and the even in my town, which is a little tiny bush town of like 1,500 people, like it's nothing. They used to put up ramps in the street, like in the intersection, like just ramps everywhere. They went down the back of a friend's house, right down the forest, and found this old pipeline and cut out 3 meters of pipe with a hacksaw and carried it back up, welded feet on it for a rail. And they didn't even ask if anyone was still using that that pipeline. They weren't. In the end, like, no word. It was been dead for forever. But like, we made places to skate. We didn't have places to skate, but we made them to skate. But I just feel now it's just completely dead. Like, you'll see a skateboarder here and there, but it's just I think the culture's just gone.
Yeah, you and I have a similar childhood in there was no skateboarding locations or honestly any type of extracurricular activity where I grew up. So we built half pipes and things like that out of anything we could get our hands onto. Yeah. And it was like the 90s and early 2000s. Skateboarding, rollerblading, bike, BMXing, very popular. And then something happened. That culture just disappeared. Do you guys still host the X Games, by the way, in Australia?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
We're terrible. We're over here. We're talking about like the death of this great culture. And then the biggest thing that's influencing it, we don't even know if it's still a thing anymore.
Yeah. No, well, I know because one of our Australian skateboarders won something in the Olympics apparently this year or last year or whenever it was.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm a terrible internationalist. I haven't followed the Olympics in like a decade.
Oh, no, well, I don't. I just like it's because it's skateboarding. So I heard that, like skateboarding. That's how I don't sit down and watch the Olympics. I just watch the reels and highlights that come out of it.
Gotcha.
We got a lot of good memes out of it last one.
Okay. Since we're going to go down that route, breakdancing, is it an Olympic sport or no?
Not anymore because we killed it. Australia killed it for you guys. Good old ray gun.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't be disappointed would you be disappointed if it came back?
As long as she wasn't involved.
She's a classic now. Like
she's a meme. But she's what she did to get there was so dodgy because there's actually some talented breakdancers,
Yeah, absolutely.
And she did the dodge apparently and blocked all the good ones so she could go.
Yeah,
and then she does that. It's just like.
At least it was memorable. I guess that's what we can say.
I will not deny the memes were fantastic. They were endless.
Yeah. Oh my Lord. Here I am saying, I don't watch the Olympics, but I knew about that. That's how bad it was out there. It was like I knew about the breakdancing. Yeah. Oh my Lord. I don't know. We could probably replace it with pole dancing in the future and get more people back. Yeah. Recoup that loss. So we are in the half section here in this interview, and I do want to just go through a couple rapid fire questions, see how you go with it, and you can justify it on these answers, or you can just answer and we'll move on. So I have a lot of history friends out there, so I have to ask, if you had to pick between serving in World War II or during a colonial war, which one would you choose?
Oh, I think it'd have to be World War II.
Okay. Avoiding the dysentery and all that side of it. Okay. Feudal Japan or medieval Europe?
Oh, don't make me choose that one.
I chose it only because I saw you had swords in the back of one of your pictures. I was like, I got to ask this guy this question.
Yeah. Well, I have swords because there's a guy I worked with and he kept giving me Ninja Turtle weapons. It was his aim to give me all the Ninja Turtle weapons. So that's why I have swords in my background. So maybe I'd go feudal Japan because of the third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie where they went to Japan. I think it just sounds fun. I've always wanted to go to Japan,
Same. It's a country that I long to visit at some point. All right. Superman or Goku?
Superman.
Oh, okay. Honestly, I thought you were going to say Goku. And I was like, this guy's an easy Goku guy. Okay. You surprised me. Yeah. Let's go with that one. All right. Deadpool or the Punisher?
I think it's going to have to be Deadpool.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay. You went with
it's the humor of it. I mean, I love the comics. I got the comics as well, some of the comics.
Okay.
But I just think I love humor.
Gotcha. Okay. Heavy metal or classical?
Oh, well, this is going to be weird. Probably classical because it won't ever give me a headache. Now, I like metal. I like listening to it sometimes, but sometimes it'll give me a headache,
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Do you get just normal headaches from it, or does it trigger migraines for you?
Oh, no, it's just normal headaches.
Okay.
I'd say, but it's just I don't hate it. It's just it's a kind of music that you can't listen to all the time when I feel like classicals kind of can be ambience. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. So then I want to go to the opposite side, reggae or pop?
That's reggae. Let's go reggae.
Really? Okay. I thought I was going to peg you as a pop. I don't even know you. Well, we know.
You're judging a book by its cover. No, the punk bands I played in were partly ska as well, and I like ska, and I think of it as fast reggae. So
okay, that's absolutely fair. This one's open. If all the oh my gosh, I can't even say it. Right. All the Mutant Ninja Turtles got into a fight, who would be the winner?
See, that's tough. I think that's a question that's been done in the movies. And look, Leonardo's more disciplined. Raphael's a hothead. I mean, are we going to do the Batman thing and ask how much prep time there is? Because Donnie could do a pretty good job if he had prep time.
Okay. If you want a prep time, we're going to say 15 minutes.
Well, I'd say if prep time and gadgets were allowed, then Donnie probably, because he's the tech guy. He could do the Batman thing. But I reckon Leonardo, because he's the most disciplined.
Okay, so then because you brought it up and I now have to fire this off, Batman versus Superman. Forget the movies. If they actually had to go like comically, canically, go against each other, who's winning?
Look, my brain goes Superman, but then I do feel like it's the joke, but it is a prep time. Like if Batman knew what he was going up against, it'd be a more fairer fight. But if he met him in the street, then Superman all the way.
Okay. All right. Have you seen that? I can't remember who they like make the videos under, but they do mashups of these, and they actually do live action versus of these various.
Yes, I've seen some of them. They're brilliant. I saw the Captain America versus the Halo guy, Master Chief.
Master Chief, yes.
Yeah. It's just like it's so well choreographed. You know?
It is. They did RoboCop versus the Terminator. I thought that was phenomenal as well. So, because I have to ask now, RoboCop versus Terminator, who do you pick?
See, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Terminator. Let's just go Terminator.
I think it would be Terminator as well. I mean, RoboCop is still a human, right? So he's just obliterated. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to your original novels. I did not know that you had a zombie story because I went through your website, didn't see it, so that's my bad. Tell me about the zombie story. What made you want to write a zombie story, especially given everything we now know about you?
Yeah, well, it's one of those ideas. I was in a situation. I actually threw a medieval themed bucks party for a friend a long while ago, and then you're there with your mates having a laugh, and then you're going like, wouldn't it be funny? Because we're all got medieval weaponry. Like, wouldn't it be funny if the zombie apocalypse happened, like right now, and you got your weapons ready to go? Like that's how it started. And then I like to be in depth, so I actually put a whole lot of meat behind it. And again, it was a screenplay first. I wrote a trilogy, and then in the end, I just translated it into a book. So the books are very heavily dialogue driven, but it's a lot of fun. But I do things differently, so I've made the virus different. It's not a spread by bite virus. I probably annoying a lot of the zombie fans, but it's not a traditional zombie book.
Okay. So we have some type of weird. I don't want to call it LARPing, offend you guys, but you guys are doing some type of LARPing out there. You have the video game that inspired it, so you do have a wide influence of what drives your creative plot. Are you considered a pantser then with how you write your stories?
I think I'm a bit of both. I'm pantser and a plotter. I'm a lot more. I tend to now plot key events and then I'll pantser between it. But then I'll come up with a character like I did with the Ancora. There was a character that I did not plan, but it just came to be, and then I had to replot and then right along. So I love pantsering because ideas just come out of you, but I need a little bit of discipline. Otherwise, it's just chaos. Yeah,
you need some type of structure keeping you in line. Very similar. That's what I hear a lot of authors do is they actually don't have an in-depth outline like many people think they do. Very much in tune to what you were doing. So then let's go back to your recently released novel. What was, aside from the video game, the largest inspiration for you to want to write a sci-fi story?
Well, I didn't really... Genre's never really on my mind. It's like I have a story, so I always struggle to pick a genre. So with this, it's a blending of sci-fi, supernatural, and fantasy, kind of that feel. But again, it's just the story. I want to tell a story, and that's what drives me. I just, I see things, I visualize very clearly, and I mean, it helped a lot because I based the character off my niece. So if you've watched the book trailer, she did the voiceover. She did some of the modeling for the concept art for what became the book cover and that. But it's just, I don't know. It's a tough question to answer because I'm just kind of like, free flow, see what happens.
I did not realize that your niece had voiced over that trailer, by the way. You have a phenomenal trailer. I really enjoyed it. That's one of the reasons I was like, yeah, let's have a little chit chat with this guy and see what he has to say about this. So it's very cool that you got your family involved.
Yeah.
Great. So with that being said, did you have to ever take moments in writing your character where you were like, I don't want my niece to think that I'm talking about her when I wrote XYZ?
Not really. Because it's I don't go it's too much into depth. Like, I mean, I kind of just modeled her appearance off her. Like, my niece makes funny bad jokes from time to time, so some of them are in there, but she's like, it's not like fully, okay, this is her. It's just like a type of her, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like I did put a dedication for her in the front, saying, what did I say? I said, for my niece, aka Zia, which is the character's name, but I'd be more worried. I mean, she's 16, so she might be able to handle it because there's a lot of dark content in there. Like, it's not violent or graphic, but it's themes of it's pretty dark. It gets dark in places. But
yeah, that's why. So I do have a service where I allow people to come in, like, for $1, I'll put your character name in there for it. But I tell people I will never base it directly off you, because if I need to kill them or do something terrible, I don't want you to think like, this guy doesn't like me. And there's moments where I thought I was going to write somebody in. I was like, no, because I need them to do something for the plot, and I don't want them to think that I see them as an idiot. So I'm just not going to do that.
They have a good friend, Don Campbell. He's a horror writer, brilliant guy from the UK, and he's got a thing now where it's like, I will literary kill you, where you can sign up to be killed in his book.
Yes. DJ Malay did the same thing with his remaining series. He had a raffle, like, you could get in there, and then he just brutally killed that character. I was like, oh no. So this has been great. Jamie, can you go ahead and tell my audience again, who you are, where they can find you, and then please pitch your most recent novel, because I really want people to check this out, especially knowing that we have to read about your niece going through some really dark experiences.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. Bryden.com is where you'll find everything. Everything's linked there. I'm pretty active on X. I'm pretty active on Instagram. My podcast, again, is Stories, the True and the Fictional, where we talk with authors and support a lot of the indie community. And Ancora, out now. For sci-fi, fantasy, bit of the supernatural. It is an in-depth, dark world where humans are being hunted by aliens with medieval weaponry. It's mystery, intrigue, and a little bit of hope. It's the road with hope and aliens. I think that's the best way to describe it.
And let me ask this, because we didn't ask this, and just in case anybody's wondering, is it turning into a series, or is this a standalone novel right now?
It was going to be a standalone, but then when I got to the end I was writing towards an ending, and then the character wasn't becoming the character that would have done what I wanted it to do. And yes, now it's a series. So there'll be another 2 books, and I'm working on a prequel.
Perfect. Well, then we have plenty of reading for everybody listening. Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining me. And for everybody out there, once again, I'm Sean Fitzgerald with Birds with Words. And until next time, stay frosty.